The SOS, the sky above Yeltrin 9, was purple, always glowing with quiet storms. It was a peaceful mining colony, small, dusty, forgotten by most of the galaxy. Old machines dug into the ground, while alien workers thin. Quiet people called the Volari collected rare crystals. They were poor, but they lived in peace. That peace ended in 1 hour dot. It started with a low hum. Then a shadow fell across the mines. A black ship. Then 5. Then 20. They came without warning. The sky turned dark as fire rained down. Buildings exploded. Screams filled the air. The Zaran raiders had come. The Zaran were known for their cruelty. They stole. They killed. They never left survivors. Elder Tarn, the leader of Yeltrin 9, ran to the old transmitter buried under rock. His hands shook as he turned it on. Sparks flew from the panel. It hadn't been used in years. I'm sending it, Tarn whispered, coughing. A distress signal. An SOS. He pressed the button. Message sent. SOS. SOS. This is Yeltrin 9. We are under attack. We are dying. Please. Anyone. Help. Then silence. Hours passed. The raiders kept burning. The Volari hid underground. Children cried. The transmitter was quiet. No reply. Tarn sat in the dark. His eyes were empty. No one will come, he said. A council ignores us. Earth is silent. No one cares about a dead mining world. But then, a beep, a single beep. Tarn's eyes snapped open. The screen flashed. A new message had arrived, not from the Galactic Council, not from the nearby colonies. From Earth. Message. We received. Your signal. Help is coming. Prepare for extraction. Ada. 9 hours. Tarn blinked. He hadn't heard that name in years. Earth? He whispered. A younger Volari girl beside him gasped. The humans? Tarn didn't answer. His hands were shaking. He had heard the old stories, the ones told in secret, about humans who fought like shadows, about fleets that could block out the stars. They don't answer signals, Tarn said. They haven't spoken to the galaxy in decades. The girl looked up, her voice trembling. Then why? Are they coming now? 9 hours later. Just before dawn, the sky changed. The stars began to disappear. One by one, they vanished, swallowed by something huge. The ground shook. The air became still. Then, they appeared. Massive black warships broke through the clouds, silent, smooth, without lights. No flags, no colors, just sighs and fear. One of the raiders ran outside and screamed, "What are those?" That's not the council. That's not any fleet. The humans didn't answer. No lights. No weapons fired. They just hovered above. The planet, like giants watching ants. Then a voice came through every frequency. It was calm. Cold. Human. Signal received. Enemy located. Initiating response. From the lead ship, hundreds of small dark pods dropped. They moved fast too. Fast for the eye to follow. They landed near the mines, near the raider camps. Then the screen started. The raiders tried to fight, but they couldn't see the enemy. The humans didn't shout. They didn't threaten. They just moved. One by one, the Zaran raiders fell. Crushed, stunned, silenced. The Volari watched from caves, eyes wide. Tarn whispered, "They came for us." Beside him, the young girl cried, not from fear but from hope. Outside, human soldiers stood tall, wearing strange, dark armor. They didn't speak. They scanned the area. They looked for survivors. Then one of them turned and looked directly at Tarn's cave. He stepped forward and said just one thing. "You called. We answered. The ghost ships arrive." Human soldiers stood at the cave entrance, still and silent. His black armor reflected the weak light of Yeltrin's sun. His helmet showed no face, only a cold, smooth surface. Tarn stepped forward, unsure. "Are you human?" Tarn asked. The soldier gave a small nod. "Extraction confirmed. Civilian safe. Threat level neutralized." Behind him, more human. Soldiers appeared, moving like shadows, checking every corner, clearing debris, helping wounded Volari. They didn't speak much, but when they did, their voices were calm and sharp. A young Volari boy whispered, "They move like ghosts." No one disagreed. Up above, the sky still looked wrong. The massive Earth warships had not left. They floated like mountains in the sky, black and silent. No names, no emblems, no sound. Just presence. One alien child pointed up and asked, "Are they alive?" And it was a fair question. The ships didn't blink. They didn't hum. They looked like sleeping beasts ready to wake if threatened again. Aboard the lead ship named UESS, Revenant Commander Layla Rourke watched the planet from her glass deck. Her eyes were calm, her face emotionless. "Status?" she asked. "A male officer responded. "Zarn raiders neutralized. All threats eliminated in 11 minutes. Volari survivors located. Casualties minimal." Layla nodded. "Good. No need for further aggression. Begin supply drop." Then silence. "But Commander," the officer said, confused, "should we notify the Galactic Council?" Layla looked at him. Double quotes, "No. We don't answer to them," she said softly. "We answer to pain." And this world screamed. Below, a supply pod opened slowly. Inside were food kits, water packs, medicine, blankets. Everything the Volari had lost. The humans placed it gently at the entrance to the caves. No speeches. No thanks expected. Just quiet help. A small girl touched one of the kits and whispered, "Why would they help us? We're not important." Tarn, still watching the sky, said, "Because someone finally listened, and it scared them." One of the youngest Zarn raiders was found hiding in a ruined tower. He was shaking, terrified. A human soldier pulled him out, dragging him to the landing zone. The raider cried, "I surrender. Please, I didn't know this place was protected." The soldier's voice was cold. "No place is protected, but every cry for help is heard." The raider fainted from fear. On the Revenant, another signal was sent. This time not just to Yeltrin, but to the entire galaxy. Galactic transmission unencrypted. To all listening, we heard the call. No one else answered. Let this be a warning and a promise. Earth remembers. That message reached star systems far away. Some laughed, some trembled, but one alien elder on a far-off world stood up from his chair and said, "They've returned." His students looked confused. "Who, Elder?" One asked. He stared at the stars, the ones who left without a word, the ones who fought in silence, the ones who walk in shadows, and carry fire. Back on Yeltrin 9, the human soldiers didn't wait for thanks. They climbed back into their black ships, leaving behind silence and survival. The last Volari child to see them waved, her hand shaking. The human ship didn't wave back. It just vanished up into the sky, swallowed by the stars. Like a ghost that only answers when the dead cry loud enough. Asterisk. What the survivors saw. The fires had stopped, the smoke had cleared, but the silence was heavier than before. The survivors of Yeltrin 9 stepped out from the underground caves. Their legs were weak, their eyes wide. Some held children close, afraid the danger might return. But what they saw was not what they expected. The battlefield was clean. No bodies. No blood. Just burn marks in the sand-perfect lines, like symbols written by machines. The Zarn raiders were gone, erased, as if they never existed. Tarn walked slowly through the Ruined street. His heart beat fast. There were no signs of fighting, no craters, no random destruction, just precise damage. Only the raiders' weapons, their ships, their hiding places, all burned away. Nothing else was touched, even the flower pots. Outside his home were still there, unbroken. He whispered to himself. This wasn't war. This was a message. Children gathered around a crater near the old refinery. In the center was a metal spike, thin, sharp, planted deep into the ground. Something was engraved on it in multiple languages. Tarn. Read it aloud. Your pain was heard. Your enemies answered for it. Do not fear the silence. Sometimes silence watches. Earth Fleet Command, an old Volari man, eyes full of tears, dropped to his knees. They came just for us. In the northern hills, a Volari scout found a strange sight. A raider had tried to run. His body wasn't there, but his armor remained, folded neatly on a rock. No damage, no burn marks, only a black human tag placed on top. One word etched in it, coward. Some survivors whispered stories. One said she saw a human soldier walk through fire unhurt. Silent. Another said she saw 3 raiders aim weapons at a human. The next second, the raiders were unconscious, never touched. A miner swore he saw a woman in human armor kneel beside a wounded child, place her hand on the child's chest, and somehow the boy's bleeding stopped. But no one had proof. No one. Got a clear look, only fear and awe. Later that night, the Volari gathered around a fire. Tarn stood before them, speaking for the first time in years. You all saw what happened, he said, and you must never forget. This wasn't an army. It was something older, something sharper than war. He looked up at the stars. Earth was silent for decades. We thought they were gone, but maybe they were just waiting for someone to cry loud enough. The young girl beside him whispered, if that's how they help, what do they do when they're angry? Far above, in the black void, the human fleet drifted in silence. No lights, no sound. Inside the lead ship, Commander Layla Rourke stared at the stars. We cleaned the wound, she said to herself. But the infection runs deeper. Her second-in-command stepped forward. New report just in. 2 more colonies attacked this week. No council response. Layla's fingers tightened. Mark them. Prepare the fleet. The officer paused. Shall I notify the council? She gave him a small smile. No, let them keep pretending. We don't send warnings. We send justice. Back on Yeltrin 9, a young boy sat drawing pictures in the dirt. He drew tall humans, big ships, sharp eyes, and at the top of his drawing, in large shaky letters, he wrote a word he had never used before. Hope. Earth's message to the galaxy. The galaxy did not expect the signal. It came without warning across every known channel, frequency, and relay point. From the core worlds to the outer rings, screens flickered to life. Even in places where Earth had been forgotten, the message still arrived. A single symbol appeared first, a black triangle surrounded by 12 stars. No one had seen it in over 50 years. Then came the words. Universal broadcast. Source, Earth Command. Yeltrin 9 cried for help. No one came. We did. To those who prey on the weak, your time is ending. To those who turned away, know we were watching. To those who still stand for justice, you are not alone. Earth remembers, and Earth responds. Then, the screen cut to footage. Every viewer saw it on walls, in market squares, on orbital stations. Images of black warships above Yeltrin 9, silent dropships falling. Zarn raiders trying to escape. Human soldiers moving like shadows. No sound, just video. But it was enough. Alien leaders froze in their chairs. Some gasped, some stood in fear. Others quietly ended their meetings. In the Trivex Empire, High Lord Vuk slammed his fist on the table. Where did those ships come from? I thought Earth disarmed. His science officer stammered, they did. Publicly. But this isn't new tech. It's refined, sharper, and fast too fast. Vuk growled. And they've been hiding, watching, waiting. Another voice from the shadows said, or maybe they just stopped warning people. On a quiet moon in a forgotten monastery, an old alien monk watched the broadcast with watery eyes. They finally spoke, he whispered. His student blinked. Who, master? The monk smiled. The humans, the old ones, the quiet ones, the ones who burned stars but chose silence. I thought they left. I was wrong. Back on Yeltrin 9, the Volari people gathered around a new tower built by humans before they left. At the top was a beacon, softly glowing blue. Tarn looked at the crowd. It's not just a warning, he said. It's a promise. To anyone. In the galaxy, the young girl asked, will they come again? Tarn smiled gently. Only if someone cries loud enough. Meanwhile, in a hidden part of Earth orbit, the UESS Revenant entered a deep space hangar. Commander Layla Rourke stepped off the bridge, her armor still covered in ash from Yeltrin. A diplomat greeted her nervously. You didn't tell the council about the strike. Layla kept walking. We don't need permission to protect life. But the diplomat started. She stopped. We didn't send that message for the council, she said. We sent it for the scared, for the forgotten, so they know. She turned her head. When they scream, someone will answer. In the shadows of deep space, the human fleet expanded. Ships that had been sleeping for decades were now reactivating. Crews trained in silence, bred in purpose, were being called back. A storm was rising. And now, the galaxy knew it. Asterisk, the last raider speaks. He sat alone in the cold room. Shackled. Shaking. His name was Grax. A mid-level XRN raider young. Angry and full of pride before YEL Tran-9. Now, he could barely breathe. 2 human guards stood by the door. Silent. Still, they didn't move, didn't talk. Just stared. Every few seconds, Grax would look at the one on the left. Then the one on the right. Both motionless, like statues made of armor. The door finally opened. Commander. Layla Rourke entered. No weapons. No guards. Just her. She sat across from Grax, placed a small recording sphere on the table, pressed it. Name, she said. Grax swallowed. Grax, Zarn, Raider Unit 17. Last survivor of Yeltrin? She asked. Grax nodded. Layla looked at him carefully. You're not here to be punished. You're here to be heard. Grax blinked. Why? Why would humans care what I say? Layla leaned forward. Because we want the galaxy to hear what happens when someone ignores a cry for help. At first, Grax didn't speak, but then the memories returned. He began to tremble. I didn't know humans still existed like that, he whispered. We thought Earth was quiet, sleeping, powerless. He looked down at his bruised hands. We heard the distress signal too, but we knew no one would come. The council doesn't care. So we took what we wanted, like always. He took a breath. But then, the sky cracked open. Grax's eyes went wide. They didn't fight like soldiers. They didn't yell. They didn't even look angry. He looked up at Layla. They moved like shadows. Like ... Like ghosts made of fire. We shot at them. They didn't flinch. We ran, they were already behind us. We begged, and they never even blinked. Layla pressed a button. The recording sphere saved everything. She stood up. That will do. But as she turned to leave, Grax shouted, Wait! She paused. I've seen the other side of this galaxy. I've burned villages, crushed colonies, fought rebels, but I've never seen soldiers like yours." Layla didn't answer. Then Grax whispered, "What are you?" She turned back, her voice steady. "We are what happens when mercy is ignored for too long." Later, in the dark council chambers of the Zarn Dominion, Grax's full confession was broadcast. Alien leaders sat in silence as they heard the truth, the fear in his voice, the way he described the human ships, the black-armored soldiers who fought, without sound or hesitation. One Zarn general whispered, "They're not warriors. They're something else." Another murmured, "Maybe Earth never went silent. Maybe we just stopped listening." Far away, in a council of 12 alien empires, a vote was held. Should Earth be contacted? Should reparations be made? The final vote was split. 6 said yes. 6 said no. The deciding voice came from the ambassador of the Terex Union. She simply said, "We ignored a scream. Earth didn't. That's all the truth we need." Back on Yeltron 9, the Volari built a Volari stone wall in the center of the village. On it, they carved one sentence: "The stars did not answer us, but the silence did." The gift left behind. The humans were gone. No engines. No lights. No sound. The sky above Yeltron 9 was quiet again, but the silence felt different now. Not empty, not fearful, but watched. The Volari slowly stepped out from their shelters. Days had passed since the last human warship vanished into the black. Tarn walked through the streets, now clear of rubble. Tools and building supplies had been neatly placed in boxes beside every home. No one saw who delivered them. Even the smallest cracks in the walls were repaired. It was as if the humans had rebuilt the village. In the shadows of night, at the center of the colony stood something new. A tall silver tower, just over 3 stories high, made of metal the Volari didn't recognize. It hummed gently, like it was breathing. Around its base were tiny lights that blinked in slow, calming patterns. No controls. No doors. Only a small plate with a short sentence, written in every galactic language. "This tower listens. If you're in danger, stand here, and Earth will hear you." The people stared in silence. Tarn stepped forward, hand trembling. He placed his palm on the smooth surface. Nothing happened, but for the first time in his life, he didn't feel helpless. He felt protected. Children found crates filled with books. Not weapons. Not orders. Books. Simple picture books, translated into Volari symbols. Stories about kindness, about protecting others, about courage when no one else believes. You. Inside the cover of each book was a small phrase: "To the little ones who will one day stand for others." Terran Peace Command beside the rebuilt schoolhouse. The young Volari girl who once cried in fear now smiled as she opened a package. It was a soft, white blanket stitched with stars. A tag hung from it, showing a name, property of UESS. Revenant Ensign Ava Rourke. She held it close and whispered, "They left pieces of themselves behind." In the forest just beyond the village, a group of scouts discovered a strange circle of flowers, perfectly arranged around a stone. The stone was black, smooth and cold. Words were engraved on it. "We do not need thanks. We only need your courage. Help the next voice that cries." That night, for the first time in years, the Volari held a festival. No weapons, no walls, just food, laughter, music, and fire. And in the center of the square, children placed small candles under the silver tower. Each flame flickered gently, as if whispering thank you to the stars. Far above, deep in the void, aboard the Revenant, Layla Rourke stood watching the stars. A soft chime rang on the deck. "Commander," her officer said. The beacon is active. They're celebrating. Layla nodded. We didn't just fight for them, she said. We reminded them they're not alone. The officer looked at her. And what about us? Layla smiled faintly. We keep listening. Then, from the far edge of the ship's long-range sensors, a flicker dot another signal, dot another cry. Asterisk what the galaxy learned. The signal echoed into the black again. This time, it came from a border world near the old war zones, tiny, scared, half-abandoned. Just 5 words. Please. Someone help us, please. The message was weak, but it was enough. On the bridge of the UESS Revenant, Commander Layla Rourke leaned forward. Location? She asked. The officer replied, Outpost Zeta 4. No active defenses. No response from any galactic authorities. Layla didn't even blink. Change course, she said. We move now. The crew responded without hesitation. There was no need for a vote. They had heard another cry. And Earth always answered. Across the galaxy, governments, empires, and pirates all watched the new patterns. Human fleets didn't declare war. They didn't threaten. They didn't negotiate. They only acted when others stayed silent. And every time they peered, justice followed. On Yeltrin 9, the Silver Tower still HUMMED. It had never stopped. And across the stars, others began to appear on lonely moons, mining colonies, even abandoned satellites. No announcements. No explanations. Just towers. And the words engraved on each. When hope fades, speak. When no one hears, you are not alone. Earth listens. In the Galactic Assembly, the Council met in panic. How many ships do they control now? Asked one elder. Unknown, replied a nervous diplomat. They don't use normal starports. Their fleets move through old wormholes, places no one else dares to enter. Another counselor leaned forward, whispering, They've built their own roads. Alien news channels ran constant reports. Human ghost fleet saves another colony. Unregistered warships strike, pirates leave aid. Behind, Earth silence, now the galaxy's shield. Some called them heroes. Others called them monsters. But all agreed on one thing. Earth was not sleeping anymore. On a peaceful hill above Yeltrin 9, the young Valari girl stood beside the memorial stone left by the humans. She looked up at the stars. She didn't fear them anymore. She believed in them now, not because the galaxy had changed, but because someone had taught her this. Even one voice can matter if the right ears are listening. And somewhere, in a hidden sector of deep space, a small, forgotten planet flickered on a silent radar screen aboard a ship. The captain smiled. Another voice? A soft voice answered. Yes, another cry, another hope. The ship turned without sound. No flags. No colors. Only stars. And a promise. The end asterisk.